Religious leaders often hold a unique position in society. They are seen as moral compasses, guiding their followers towards spiritual enlightenment. This reverence can be powerful. It can also be dangerous. When leaders abuse their authority, the consequences can be devastating. Followers may be reluctant to question their actions, fearing divine retribution or community ostracism. This unquestioned trust can create a breeding ground for abuse. Victims may feel silenced, afraid to speak out against those they are taught to revere. This fear is often compounded by the community itself. Those who dare to question the leadership may face social isolation, branded as troublemakers or heretics. The case of Robert Morris, a prominent pastor in Texas, illustrates this point. Morris was accused of sexual abuse by a former member, Cindy Clemisher. Despite the seriousness of the allegations, many within the church rallied around their leader. They questioned Clemisher's motives, accusing her of lying or exaggerating her claims. This type of reaction is sadly not uncommon. The power imbalance between a religious leader and their followers can make it incredibly difficult for victims to come forward. Their voices are often drowned out by a chorus of denial and disbelief, leaving them feeling isolated and betrayed by the very community that should offer them support. Religious institutions, by their very nature, are often highly structured. They operate with clear hierarchies, with layers of authority and responsibility. While this structure can be beneficial, ensuring smooth operation and clear lines of communication, it can also be exploited. The same mechanisms designed to maintain order can be manipulated to silence dissent and conceal wrongdoing. A prime example of this is the Catholic Church's handling of sexual abuse allegations. For decades, the Church systematically relocated priests accused of abuse, moving them from parish to parish rather than defrocking them or reporting them to the authorities. This practice, often shrouded in secrecy, allowed the abuse to continue unchecked, leaving a trail of shattered lives in its wake. The Catholic Church is not alone in this regard. Similar patterns of abuse and cover-up have been uncovered in various religious organizations, cutting across denominations and faiths. The common thread is the exploitation of organizational structures to protect the institution's reputation, often at the expense of the victims. This manipulation of power is not always about outright malice. Sometimes it stems from a misguided sense of loyalty, a belief that protecting the institution is paramount, even when it means turning a blind eye to wrongdoing. This culture of silence only perpetuates the cycle of abuse, allowing it to fester in the shadows. In some instances, the protection afforded to religious institutions extends beyond internal structures and spills into the legal realm. Certain religious groups enjoy legal privileges and autonomy that can hinder investigations and shield abusers from accountability. For example, some communities, like the Amish and Jehovah's Witnesses, prefer to handle abuse cases internally, often through religious tribunals or mediation. While this approach may stem from a desire to protect the community's reputation and avoid secular intervention, it can also prevent victims from accessing justice through the legal system. Furthermore, the very nature of religious faith can be used as a shield. Leaders accused of abuse may claim their actions were divinely inspired or part of a religious practice. This can make it challenging for prosecutors to build a case, particularly when dealing with beliefs and practices that are outside the understanding of the legal system. The lack of transparency and accountability within some religious institutions can create an environment where abuse can thrive. When victims fear speaking out and perpetrators believe they are above the law, justice becomes elusive, leaving vulnerable individuals at risk. It's crucial to acknowledge that the vast majority of religious organizations and their leaders are genuine in their faith and their desire to serve their communities. However, the cases highlighted in this essay reveal a dark underbelly, a vulnerability within these institutions that can be exploited for criminal purposes. To safeguard the trust placed in religious institutions and protect the vulnerable, a radical shift towards transparency and accountability is needed. This includes encouraging open dialogue about abuse within religious communities, challenging the culture of silence and creating safe spaces for victims to come forward, implementing mandatory reporting policies for religious leaders, requiring them to report suspected abuse to the authorities, regardless of internal investigation outcomes, reviewing and amending legal loopholes that shield religious institutions from scrutiny, ensuring they are not above the law, providing support and resources for victims of abuse within religious settings, offering them access to counseling, legal aid, and advocacy. Only through a collective effort, involving religious leaders, policymakers, and the public, can we create an environment where faith is a source of solace and support, not a shield for abuse and impunity.